You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you could hang with them boys in that league, dog, by the time you got into like junior high school and high school, bro, you were a beast.
You're ready to go.
But the problem my parents had already came up on a little money and moved me on the other side of the track. So I was going to my school, which was the championship school. But all my homeboys and all the ones that hit hard, they was going to the other school.
Oh, okay.
You lie?
I think.
It should be.
Yeah.
No delay, right?
I don't think so. We just heard you loud and clear.
My phone is always doing this weird thing.
I'm not looking for love, but
I want to try something.
I play hide and seek with love, but it hasn't found me. Oh, it hasn't found me. My heart's been racing for a while, but it's still behind me. Oh, it's still behind me. But it beats like la da 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 all day. Sit all day, 'cause you know that I'm looking for love. But I hope that it finds me. Seems I forgot how to love. Need someone to remind me. Say loudly, dream. It's not always what seems, but I'm still looking, yeah, and still not looking. Ooh, and it beats like la da 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 all day. Sit all day. I'm not looking for love, but I hope that it finds me. Need someone to remind me. La da 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 all day. And it beats like la da 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 all day.
Welcome back. You guys are back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Alrighty, don't forget we're on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. That was Muse, W period, E period, W period, S, My Experience Right Songs, with one of his new records there.
I had to ask who that was. That was a totally different vibe. That was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That 80s show, I believe is that 80s.
Yeah.
So he's definitely bringing an 80s vibe with that.
Yeah, you need to be on the stage with no shirt on and some sultry maneuvers.
I don't know if he's ready for the no shirt vibe, but
Hey, I know I'm not.
But nonetheless, it's a dope record, and he's continuing on with.
Sometimes though, you might be able to just sing so damn good it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have my shirt off and nobody can tell me nothing.
There you go. He definitely has one of those voices there. Today on the bench, we have a good show for you guys again. We're talking about, of course, the MVP of the NBA was announced yesterday. You got LeBron and Curry going at it, and of course that means that brings all type of foolishness and crazy topics. Anthony Davis is performing admirably along with that last. You got
hopefully not very.
Usher has been Usher, the R&B singer. He has been quite active in the media last few weeks or month. Even going back to his Tiny Desk concert.
Must be dropping a project soon.
Jamie Foxx, he has been hospitalized. We're gonna talk about that a little bit there, and got a twist on that. And if we get to it, we'll talk some Messi there in soccer. And all of the drama he has going on here on the bench. I like to start the show a lot of times with some things I think about throughout the course of the week, course of the day. And I have a story that I wasn't going to even talk about this, but I had to.
And I'm always fascinated by what you're thinking about during the week and during the day.
Last week it went pretty well when we reposted it and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, these are real thoughts. And this week, the theme, I guess, of around the thought is women's intuition. It really ain't shit. It's not a real thing.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you a quick story here. And like I said, these stories, man, it could be from a long, long time ago. It could be from yesterday. I have no idea.
You have no idea, but it's your story.
So. Let me see how I'm going to word this, because I'm sure this guy is going to be listening to this show as we're Facebook friends. So, okay, so I go out with a group of friends and a family member, and we go out, right? It's guys, okay? Now, so that means there's 4 of us, okay? There's 4 of us. We go out, and 2 of my friends, they find out at a place that we're at that they talk to or have dated some of the same women, right? Because there's a lot of women
as
here.
As you or amongst each other?
Amongst each other, but I'm there. I can hear them talking.
No, I'm saying they're realizing that they might have dated the same women.
Yes.
Not the same women as you did.
No, not as I did.
Okay.
No. As each other themselves, right? Because one woman will come up and then and after the night they say, oh yeah, I talked to this, that. Oh, you talked to her. What about this? And then, so after when that event or that place ended where we were at,
yeah.
Okay, then they started to realize and talk about it, how many women that they interacted with together. All right.
I think that's called Eskimo Brothers.
But they didn't know. Eskimo Brothers, they are in the know. They do it on purpose, right?
Really? No, I didn't know that. I thought if you smash the same person as another person, you become Eskimo Brothers with that person.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think it was like we know. Like, no.
Okay.
It's just one of those. Like, it's exactly like you're talking about. You're going about your business, and next thing you know.
So instead of going home after this, we
Who wants to go home?
We continue the night and we go to other places, a lot of other places. And when the night is over, everyone's, drinking, everyone's drunk. And one of the person is driving in the car. All right. Now, and I use friends loosely here, as one of these guys I don't know. Okay. All right.
That'd be pretty loose.
I don't really know this person that well, but everybody else does. And he's actually he's a prominent figure in Orlando, and that's the farthest I'm gonna go with that statement. So we're in this vehicle here.
You and Mayor Buddy Dyer
and my other friends. I'm not alone with this person, and a call comes in the Bluetooth. This is one reason why anytime I'm in the car, well, if you're in the car with like homeboys, generally you're safe on Bluetooth. But anytime I'm in the car with any woman or anything, my Bluetooth always goes off because you just never know who can call and what can happen.
Well, I was gonna say there's no reason on earth to be on Bluetooth with other people in the car. That's idiotic to me.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's you, Bubba.
So, right? So, okay, he takes that call. It turns out that this is another guy calling him. Okay, and I don't know if you can see where this is going, but
Is it trapped in the closet? What do we got?
they have conversations. This guy is playing both sides of the field. Okay, he's in both camps. Now everybody's in the car drunk, but for some reason I'm the only person that's understanding what's going on in this very moment, and I'm trying to get eye contact, and nobody's giving me eye contact, and I'm like, do you not hear what's going on? And I mean, and they're getting explicit too. I mean, and
But wait, please tell us. I need to know how explicit.
I'm talking about
Come on, man.
explicit.
Come on, man. Give us something.
Man, okay, so all right, so the guy calls. He
Your
said,
booty hole tastes better than KFC? Like, what are we talking about?
Where you at? I'm coming to you. And he said, but I can't talk right now. He said, don't embarrass me. I got my homeboys in the car. Don't embarrass me. And then I said, I don't get, I don't want to do the voice, but I don't care about who's in the car with you. And I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I don't care people's sexual preferences and nothing like that. It doesn't bother me at all. I have a point coming to the story. Pink just want to hear the explicit content. Okay, all right. That's the only reason I'm diving into this. So
make me the bad guy.
So he's like, I'm coming when I get there, you better be butt naked, laying on the bed. I'm gonna get in that ass tonight. And I'm looking, what is going? You don't hear this, and nobody's like, look, I can't get eye contact.
What are these other two guys doing?
I mean, we are drunk.
Are they passed out?
No, they're up, but they're just like one is on the phone, and the one is just zoned out, and and things like that.
I'm not sure I've ever been drunk enough to miss that.
I'm trying to get the eye contact of the person that they share women with.
Right.
These two guys, like, if anybody should eyes be wide open, should be the guy that you just slept with, the girl he slept with last night. Like, it should be alarming to you. Okay?
Meanwhile, the guy and I ain't wearing no protection either. Oh, that got your attention, did it?
And then he was like, and then the guy that's he's driving. He's like, oh, don't worry, I didn't get no girls' numbers today. I'm not gonna do you like that tonight. And then the guy's like, you better not. Okay, but anyway, okay, that's enough of that. All right. So the point to that is, and there's a lot of men that plays the both sides of the field. That's like a normal thing. And that's why I say, because none of these women know. Okay? If women intuition worked, one of these women would know. Okay? Like that's like you would have to find that out. Like it's not hard to find that out. Okay? It's not hard to know. I don't know how women intuitions work or whatever. Maybe somebody can comment or call. I don't know how it works, but I would think, and other things too. Like I don't think it's women intuitions. I think that's bullshit. I think that's something a woman way back in 1800s made up, and then it just stuck throughout the history of mankind. I think women are just naturally nosy, so they just eventually find out things because they're sticking their nose in everything.
Well, I was gonna say, like, the women's intuition could really just mask that, like, they are thinking that their guy's cheating, and oh wait, I was proven right on that. Must be my intuition.
Right.
It's like, no, you went into this expecting this outcome.
Exactly.
Like, it was not intuition. You didn't like magically wake up one day and go, "Hey, I think something's off." Like, no,
not at all. Man.
no, yeah.
And that's my point to this, is that all these women and this person is taken down. He's taken down quite a few, and that's another reason. And it was in that moment I was like, I need to get out. I need to get out of this game, man, because this is a wicked game. Because when you really think about it, he's having sex with all these women, but these women are having sex with these dudes, and I'm still somewhat in this Orlando circle to why I can, and then things get and then you can just get, and it's, oh my gosh, I gotta get out, man. I gotta get out. And I texted my ex, and I was like, let's just get married. And stop fucking around, man. What are we doing here? Gotta get out, man.
Save me.
What am I doing?
That's crazy.
But yeah,
that's funny though.
man.
I can't say it really changed your behavior though.
You guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink over sports, music, and mayhem.
That was some mayhem, all right.
It's a little mayhem, all right. Let's get to some sports, man. All right, so I think the biggest.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Though. Like when the call ends, like there's no like awkwardness in the vehicle.
There's no awkwardness because I'm the only one that really caught it.
And you're not looking at this guy like.
I'm looking, but
He's just ignoring you.
I mean, what talking about the
guy? Yeah,
that took the call.
Yeah,
the guy that took the call can't really see me. I'm behind in the car.
But he wouldn't suddenly act a little suspicious.
A tiny bit, but once he looks around to his right and back and he sees the guy
passed out
or not paying attention, he's in the clear.
I'm good. Full speed ahead.
Yeah, man.
I gotta get these clothes off quickly.
I got places to be, man.
That's awesome.
This is sick, man. Shout out to Ray of Coach Baruti. What's up, family?
Yeah, enjoyed my appearance on his show the other day.
Yeah, that's right, man. The Woodwall Show and Baruti, man, puts together those pop-up shops and those conversations, man. It's always awesome. And Ray, shout out to Ray. He said the women are definitely nosy and naturally insecure. That's something we missed. Yeah, naturally insecure. I like that. I think that too.
Yeah,
I think that too. Yes. So I think that
that's probably a better term for what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
That natural insecurity, just they're always wondering and questioning, and then like when something happens, they just say, "Oh, that was my intuition," and no, that was your natural insecurity biting you in the ass.
Exactly.
There you go. Good job, Ray.
Yeah, Ray knows how to tie these knots, man.
I liked it.
He could tie any shoe in America. I think the biggest headline in sports right now is this LeBron Curry matchup here, Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, the Lakers go up 1-0 last night. And first of all, it was a good game. It was a really good game.
Sadly, I passed out at halftime. I was exhausted.
They're going to start so late, man.
Yeah, it was tough. But
be prepared. That's going to be like at least 90%. They're going to get a Sunday game.
Well, no,
a weekend game.
Tomorrow it's like a 9:00.
That'll be better.
Tip off. Yeah. No, I think, and you'll get to the weekend. I think they realize what they have in this marquee matchup, and they're actually trying to avoid playing as many of these games as possible at 10:30.
10:30, yeah.
Because they know that impacts things, and so
yeah. East Coast rules. Okay. So you got this thing here. Now we know we've heard all the breakdowns. We know the teams. We know this is going to be a really exciting series. And we're going to talk about the game and the series a little later when we bring up Anthony Davis a little later in the show. But I wanted to open the sports segment with this. Because what happens in sports, man, when you get these titans and they go against each other, it's just you get foolishness, man. And I call it foolishness. So now you have like Stephen A. Smith on TV, and then you got all these people on social media, and they're saying, okay, so if Curry beats LeBron and they win another championship, then you have to put Curry over LeBron, and you have to, it's just. I first of all, I really hate it for LeBron. I think, and this is so many thoughts going in my head but let me finish the first one, right?
Try to sort them out here.
Yeah, I really hate this for LeBron because there's always a negative, a big negative in every one of his runs, and I know it comes with being a Titan, but the problem is the people that's always compared to him in that moment, which it always changes, and I go through the names, they don't carry these same negative connotations when they lose or in these bizarre scenarios. They don't carry negative connotations on the other end. If Curry loses, it's all, well, yeah, we'll see him next year. Curry's great still. If LeBron loses, Curry takes his place. LeBron falls to top 10. He was just number 2. Now he has to go all the way down to the top 10. Like all of this, it's just crazy, man. That's the one. 2, I always say we talked about this briefly. You had a good point about plumbers and stuff like that from way back in the day. But one of my main points is just LeBron has faced more Titans, more high-level competition than any other superstar that in the GOAT conversation, and it's really not even close, right? And we don't value that. So they talk about all the losses that he takes, but they don't talk about who they were to. That's number 2. Number 3, they talk about Curry 4 rings, LeBron 4 rings if he wins 5 and 4, but there's no context. There's no context in the first time they played each other. He didn't have Curry, he didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love. He had Matthew Dellavedova running around the whole entire series on him. He had guys that's not even in the league anymore that was on LeBron's team. Like there's never any context. There's never any context to the final MVPs and how many times Curry was actually the best player on his team. Like that just doesn't exist for a guy like LeBron. Like they're not in the same weight class. It's like Ali against Oscar De La Hoya. Like they're it's a completely different titan of weight class. Like Curry would have to have a string of 5 years of another sheer dominance of a career to be put on the same breadth and plateau of a LeBron, Michael Jordan, guys like, you know what I mean, which is a very short list to begin with. But that's just what it is. He just doesn't belong there. He just doesn't. It's like it's like a piece of chicken in a fruit bowl.
Piece of chicken and fruit bowl. Okay.
It just doesn't belong. I don't know. Chicken is still great. I like chicken.
Chicken's better than a damn fruit bowl. I tell you what. Send that fruit bowl back to the kitchen. I know I get what you're getting at. I mean, and to me, really, the big swipe of this is just the culture of comparison. And we talk about this a lot. It diminishes what you're watching and what you're enjoying. And it's you have to, before the series has even started, there's always like hypotheticals. If this happens, if that happens. And it gets absurd. Like you have to just let the thing play out. Now the weird irony, and this could work out as being 100% true, and it's almost perverse in its irony, is that if the Warriors win, Curry is the best player on the Warriors. If the Lakers win, Anthony Davis might be the best player in the series for the Lakers. And kind of that almost goes back to like the KD and Steph playing together. So you almost kind of come full circle where maybe LeBron gets one of those in his favor. But
that's another iron to this. Like, and it should be like that. Like LeBron is in year 20 something. Like nobody even makes it this far and is this productive. Like yesterday. In a game full of 20-year-olds and whatever, LeBron was the second most impactful defensive player in the entire game. All right, and still gave you whatever 22, 24 points, whatever that was. Like he was the second most impactful defensive player. He was blocking shots left and right. He was playing really good defense. He was in tune. All right, like it's a completely different. Like it's just a different book. It's not. They're not even in the same. They're not even in the same stratosphere. Like I don't understand. My brain can't wrap my head around it. I don't get it
because like there's a couple ways to look at it. If you, and I'm not necessarily in favor of these conversations. I want a good series. I want the Warriors to win, and I want them to win the title. That's what I want. But in this whole thing of comparisons, it's like LeBron suffers in a way. It's like gunslinger syndrome. He's the guy, and he's the guy that everybody wants to take down because he's basically the top guy. His career is unprecedented in basketball. In some ways, it's unprecedented in the history of sport to be this productive for this long, free of scandal, free of whatever. It's amazing. But if you just leave it at that, like, what's your talking point? And even if he's in another stratosphere, now you could take it literally and say, like, oh, if Curry wins and he has 5 of LeBron, you put him in front. Here's another thing with the stratospheres. We all know LeBron's out in this crazy stratosphere. But by beating him, theoretically, what stratosphere does that put Steph into? And even if it's not putting him above LeBron, LeBron's still that, like, the lighthouse that you're comparing all this to. How close does Curry get to that with a 5th ring? How much does he distance himself from other players of this era, or even players of the past, like your Magic Johnsons and Larry Bird?
Realistically, it's going to place him high, right?
Right, but I think when we're looking at it, we're saying how high and how comfortable, and it's almost like you throw something, a spaghetti on the wall, and see what sticks. Like, you throw it out there at LeBron because he's the lighthouse. But then it's like, we know that's not really going to happen. But then, okay, well, how comfortable are we working our way back, saying, well, Steph's better than this, Steph's better than that? It's almost like a weird, like, way to start the conversation.
Yes, but Curry, what I'm saying realistically, because I know where the conversations will go and where they will land and where they will stick. Right now, I'm only frustrated with even the scenarios, right, of the what ifs but realistically, I know the stick. But even then, if you gets to 5, like, he's not the same. He's not as impactful. He doesn't carry the same weight as these other Titans of the past or LeBron. He just doesn't. He's a different kind of player. He's within this Golden State system with all of these great, awesome players. Now that's not his fault, but as a result of that, his burden is much, much less than these other guys. I don't care. It doesn't matter which one you name, whether it's the Jordans, whether it's the LeBrons, whether it's the Larry Birds, whether it's the especially after when Larry had to carry with the injuries there, with the Wilt Chamberlains and the whatever. Sort of that's sort of my argument with Bill. I mean, but I understand people, they don't care about context. Sports fans don't care about context. Sports fans care about the end result of the ring. You get a ring or you're not. But then how do you take away Robert Horry's and all this? I don't understand how it's good for the goose, but it's never good for the gander.
The argument is almost only as good as the arguer. And if you're going to say, like, low mental capacity people, it really gets a name quickly. But, like, there's a subtlety to the argument of Steph that I think is interesting. I mean, of all the great players, like, he appears to be as much the everyman as any other player. Like,
everyman is what?
In terms of just, there's nothing extraordinary physically going on. He's not a giant. He's not hyper athletic or those sort of things. And so there's this thing, like, you look at the other big names that we just dropped, he physically doesn't fit. It feels like you're inviting your younger brother to the party. But the accomplishments are starting to stack to a point that you're like, does it fit? Like, and where does it fit? That's how I look at it. I'm not looking at he's going to surpass LeBron. That ain't happening. But, like, I do get this thing of, like, damn, like, this is a hell of a career, and where does it fit among these big people? Literal big people. And I also think, and you make and it's to a degree a valid argument that, systemically they're very effective and whatever. But then you look at what he did this past weekend, and, like, he was the system. And, like, and I'm watching the first half of Game 7, and he's doing so much, and nobody else is doing much other than Looney rebounding. And I'm watching this, like, they're up or down 2 points at half, and I'm thinking, this is not sustainable. They're not going to win if somebody else doesn't start hitting shots in the second half, and they really didn't.
No, and he did, and he has done that in other points of his career,
right?
The same way. The issue that I have is that there's been so many moments, like, to where his other teammates has been that engine, the same way that he was, that these other greats have not had. Clay has been that engine. Game 6 Clay, when he has literally done the exact same thing or more than Steph in that, Iguodala, he was the engine to that. That's why he won Finals MVP.
But every great player had tons of great guys.
Not that was the engine. They weren't the reason.
Larry Bird played with a bunch of Hall of Famers. Magic Johnson played with
a
bunch of Hall of Famers.
They weren't the reason, like, throughout the finals.
James Worthy had a triple-double eliminating the Pistons in that series, in the Game 7. I mean, it's happened. It's not unprecedented.
It's happened. You understand? Stars have good games. If Philly goes and win on the championship, James Harden scored 40 5 in a really big game against the Celtics. Mentally, that's good because they've been whooping our ass for 5 years. Like stars that have good games. Like, I'm not saying that. Right. There was a series with the Bulls versus the Supersonics where Gary Payton was destroying Jordan. Things that people don't talk about. They had to switch Scottie Pippen on him, and that's the reason why they won the series. You know, like I understand. It's not all about scoring 60, 70 points. Sometimes
the same thing with when the Bulls played the Lakers and won their first title. The adjustment to get Pippen onto Magic Johnson changed the series.
Yes. I understand.
Like, we can go through every major player and find moments where teammates or adjustments were made that
but
helped.
they weren't the engine. Like, you can't take it away that Iguodala won the Finals MVP. Like, you can't take things away that
people look at that and it's always like, how is he Finals MVP? He contained LeBron to 38 points a game or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, but it wasn't only defense. I mean, Iguodala was an all-around player. I mean, the offense was centered around him. He was averaging over, had to be over 5 or 6 assists. You know what I mean? It was scoring. It was defense. It was rebounding. Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of these times, I mean, Curry is only really he's not only just shooting. I know he's generating space for his team and things like that because of the gravity that he pulls. But his impact really stops at that. These other superstars, they're two-way players, and LeBron is a damn three-way, four-way player if you include his leadership and his ability to assist the ball and get his teammates involved in the game on top of scoring and defense. You know, and that's what I'm saying. And Jordan has had that. I mean, Jordan had high assist season where he was the engine. He had high scoring, and of course, they talk about his defense, and the same thing goes on and on with the Kobe's and the Tim Duncans and the Olajuwons and the Kareems and the Magic. You know, I don't think Curry has never had that impact, that overall impact that these other Titans have. But at the same time, I agree with you. Whether he wins this year or not, they're going to put him up there because of the end result of the 4 rings or the 5 rings.
For sure.
But my point is, he doesn't belong there. He's never had that. He's never had that type of impact or burden. And it's not. I'm not saying that he.
I don't think we can confine ourselves to what we think the burden is or what we think the engine looks like, and we have to accept what he is. And then you look at the success that he's had being what he is, and it's up in the upper tier of all NBA accomplishments, and that's how you got to measure this thing. I mean, to be fair, he didn't have a ton of help in the finals last year. You know, he was.
Who didn't?
Curry.
Wiggins was phenomenal.
He was good. He wasn't phenomenal.
Andrew Wiggins was phenomenal, man.
By the comparison,
his defense was outrageous on Tatum and Brown.
By the comparison that of other great players on title teams, it wasn't.
No, you can't do that because you have to add the impact of defense. Just because Curry don't play much defense, he has gotten better.
Also, remember,
defense matters.
Remember how the game in Boston when Draymond was in the shitter. And Curry baited the crowd and kind of got everything going. That was low-key leadership.
Curry was the best. Curry was the best player.
No, but I'm saying you talk about leadership and all this other stuff. That was huge. Yes. Draymond was in crisis mode individually, and Curry in Boston hit shots early, got going, did the gestures, got everything directed at him, and kind of got a reprieve.
But throughout this entire run, 98% of any basketball aficionado, people that know the game, are going to say Draymond is the leader of that team. I know Curry's had moments.
I could say
Curry's had moments,
that, but
that's what they're going to say.
He's a different type of leader. That's what I'm saying. We can't look at things in prototype boxes and accept that that's it. There's different types of leadership. And that thing he did in Boston, that's probably not something he talked about or gave a speech. I mean, he gave a speech before Game 7, and people were like, he almost never does that. There's different ways people lead and do things. And I just think he belongs. He's not at the Jordan, not at the LeBron level. I'm not ever going to make that argument. But he belongs among the game's greats.
Yes, he's a great player.
And that's all you got to say. I mean, what are we arguing about then?
I'm not arguing. I'm talking about the foolishness. I'm talking about the foolishness of LeBron Curry.
I said like that, but that's where that goes. This is why I don't like endorsing idiot arguments, and endorsing it by even giving it the credence to say, oh, hey, let's whatever. If you're dumb enough to think that this would vaunt Curry above LeBron, you're probably too dumb to continue watching basketball. So stop. Go do something else. Play checkers. That's a real dumb game. Seriously, maybe
I'm good at checkers, man.
Doesn't say much about it. Checkers. I mean, come on. Who gives two craps about checkers, man?
Once again, you guys are on the bench, man. On the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. All right. My guy, man, Embiid. We've been talking about it the last few weeks.
Congratulations to him.
Finally won MVP.
That's awesome.
He was both of our picks.
Yeah.
This year and last year.
That's right. Should be back-to-back MVP.
But he finally got it. He had a great moment there with his team when it was announced. I thought it was interesting. I didn't know that they announced it on TNT. I don't know. I don't remember that being in the past.
Yeah, I get confused. Usually I'll see on social media when the awards are given out, so I don't know the mechanism for announcing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do remember. I mean, KD stood out. It was like, he did a whole podium speech, and he had teammates and all that. I mean, in some ways, that felt like the most kind of iconic MVP acceptance that I can recall. Yeah. But I didn't know that there's a set way to, hey, this is how we do MVP. I don't know.
Maybe they just try different ways and trying to see which way sticks.
Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool for sure. And apparently he's supposed to be coming back in Game 2. We'll find out tonight. And see how that goes. How surprised were you that Philly stole that first game there?
I was pretty surprised, and it makes me think if Embiid comes back, and we are talking about our current MVP, it's like there's been a lot of talk about a lot of teams, but Philadelphia has had the best playoff so far, hands down.
Hasn't lost a game.
They went into Series 1, took care of business in a sweep. They come with down the MVP and win on the road to start the second series. They're 5-0. Maybe something special's brewing here.
It may be, and what a time to be after I said, and I still do. I still believe this is my least favorite Sixers team, and wouldn't it be the team to go and win it all? My least favorite Sixers team as a diehard fucking Sixers fan my whole life. I
have to say this for my own benefit. I have trashed James Harden for years and years and years. I've not liked the way he's played and all that stuff. He has done a lot of great things this year. We didn't know what he was going to do with the money at the beginning of the year, but he took a little bit less.
When he took a pay cut. I'd never
work.
said another bad thing about him.
Yeah, but it's just been better and better and better. And I was joking around to some people before the first game, going, Doc's probably got to roll by James and be like, hey, we need Houston James. And basically he got him. Mm-hmm. He delivered that performance on command. And then he had some quote, I don't know if it was after the game or different day, but he's like, when I score 40 or 50 points, people are like, you can't win that way. And then I score 20 points and have 11 and assist, and they're like, yeah, you're getting old, you can't play. And I loved it. It's that great self-awareness.
Yeah.
And even departing Brooklyn, he was kind of the guy that kind of low-key said, this wasn't about basketball. These guys weren't playing basketball. They weren't trying to win. And again, you see that, that was kind of that's how it played out. And he got himself out of there and got to a better situation. I mean, even just accomplishing what they've accomplished up to today is better than anything Brooklyn did, the whole time he was there.
Yeah, it's better than anything we've ever done.
So in the last couple of months, Mike Brown wins Coach of the Year deservingly. James Harden's become a likable veteran, and I agree with Stephen A. Smith on several things. My world is collapsing. My world of just black and white opinions and clear cut things. But you gotta, and that's that thing. The first segment of the show, and we're talking about all this stuff with, who's where or whatever. Those three things I just mentioned are just exist in the moment. I didn't think Mike Brown was anything special. What did he do for 82 games in the playoffs? He was an excellent coach. James Harden, went from being the bloated strip club guy to being this kind of cool veteran leader on a team that's undefeated in the playoffs. And I'm here to see it. And if I'm wrong about a guy, I'm here to acknowledge that and say, hell of a job, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so far, fantastic.
Yeah, seriously, man. Definitely. And they have to take advantage because the East is it's in shambles. I mean, I've been on the train all year saying Boston is not the same team. I don't know if it's the coaching. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's because Jaylen Brown really wants to get out of there. I don't know because they have the same team. So and they added Brogdon, who has played well for them. So I don't know what's going on with Boston, but I just knew the whole season something's off. Milwaukee goes out before any one of us thought they were going out.
Yeah.
You know, Miami, Jimmy is injured, but he's supposed to play next game. Like, the whole East is just, it's so wide open. We thought the West was the one that was wide open.
But but you look in the West,
But
and
this is
what
the
do we
opportunity.
have? I mean, Denver looks excellent. They're taking it to the Suns. But, you know, this series, the Lakers and Golden State started the playoffs as 6 and 7 seeds essentially. They're in a conference semifinal, and you know, to me, it's still open game who wins, and you still would probably like either one of those teams with Denver, like their chances.
I don't.
Maybe not with gun to your head, pick them to win, but like they can't go into a series with Denver thinking, oh, we're outmanned.
Who's that? Which team?
Either the Lakers or Golden State.
No,
They're gonna
no,
go in full
no.
confidence.
No. Yeah.
Whoever wins this
Whoever
series.
wins the series.
Yeah, I mean, and so I think the whole situation is really wide open.
It is. I mean, selfishly, I want Denver. If we can get past Boston.
You want Denver in the final as a Sixers fan.
Yeah.
Then you have the clash of
That would be great for
like,
the league, man.
of old school / new wave big men.
Yeah.
Like it really
is.
Like physically, they're these big, talented, skilled hub players, but they're kind of evolved enough and they can shoot enough that they don't quite look like a 80s matchup of like David Robinson and Hakeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing and that whole crew.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. Definitely, we'll see on that. While you kind of touched on it, this Phoenix Denver series. This is another thing. Not trying to bring up LeBron, but this is for Kevin Durant. We talked about this last year, the Kevin Durant thing.
Yeah.
And when they got swept by Boston, and we talked about. Matter of fact, it came up in my memories today on Facebook, and I had every fucking mind to download it and bring it up on the show, but I forgot I was working. And we were talking about all the players that were better than Kevin Durant after the sweep. Right, and we got up to about 6 or 7 names.
Oh yeah. I remember we talked when Tatum really was the better man during that whole series last year.
Kevin Durant cannot get swept in back-to-back playoff series.
He's about to.
He cannot get swept. The amount of excuses they built for a man that they have called the best player in the league for the past 3 to 4 to 5 years. The amount of excuses I hear for this guy, it cannot happen. First of all, if you're that guy, I don't care how great the other team is and what your team is missing. First of all, Chris Paul is an 80-year-old man. That fucking man is not the reason why you're going to get swept.
And he's hurt.
You know what I mean? He's always hurt.
Yeah. But
he's always hurt in every playoff run.
He's likely to miss the rest of the series.
He was 16 years old hurt in the playoff run. He's always hurt in every playoffs. I don't want to hear. There's no excuse. You have Devin Booker, a top 5 scorer in the game. You have Ayton. You have be a leader. Get these guys ready. You can't get swept in back-to-back years. You couldn't get swept last year against a young Boston team. For some kind of way, God's grace, that swept under the rug. Okay, but, you know, when you had a healthy Kyrie, you had a healthy Brooklyn team, that was swept under the fucking rug. And then this year, if you get swept by a Denver team that nobody believed in, you know, that's unforgivable, man.
Even Anthony Edwards didn't get swept.
Not even Anthony Edwards and the terrible Timberwolves. Those guys are shitty. They play shitty. They have a terrible superstar. I guess now Anthony, and he should be regarded as the superstar of that team.
He is.
They should have one star, period. That's a one-star team.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about any other stars on that team. That just can't happen, Pink.
No, I agree with you. And to me, when I look at the flaws of Kevin Durant, the biggest single one is he just is incapable of being a genuine leader. He is a hooper. Mm-hmm. He loves the game, but he is just that.
Well, like you said,
he doesn't do the leadership.
Curry leads in other ways, and you can see it, and I agree with that. That's why I didn't say anything to that point. You can see that. Durant, like you said, there's no avenues of leadership.
None.
There's not the leading by play.
Even with all the dysfunction in Brooklyn, and you could probably track every single quote that he had that related to sort of chemistry, team dynamic, off court. Literally, his default position is, hey man, let everybody be everybody.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let Kyrie be
That's
Kyrie.
not, that's it.
If he wants to
he
miss 40
doesn't
games,
have
let him miss.
anything more than that.
Yeah.
And like again, when you look at this and look at what other people have accomplished in the sport and what you've accomplished, you cannot. I'm more adamant that you cannot put Kevin Durant in any top 10 or 15 all-time configuration way stronger than putting Curry in a top 7.
I'm way stronger on
5 to 7.
I agree.
On that.
Yeah.
Because he's just completely lacking that.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, man. That is what it is.
That's what it is. And what happens is when you're only a scorer, and which KD is, and he's an average defender. I mean, he can, and that by that meaning he can defend the paint. He can, but even that, he's an average defender because he could do that decent. Okay, but even in that point, he's not a Giannis at that or whatever. Okay. He has off games still, which everybody does.
Right.
So when you're but they put him in this strategy where he's the greatest scorer of all time. He's 7 foot and he can dribble and he can shoot. He's not. He's not the greatest scorer of all time. He's not. I can name 3 or 4 or 5 guys I would want to score the ball before KD.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I know he's an elite scorer. He is an elite scorer. But what I'm saying is, you when you guys throw out these superlatives, these empty superlatives, the greatest scorer of all time, the best player in the world, and he's better than this guy, better than LeBron, better than, you can't throw out empty superlatives like that to a guy that continuously just does not show up when he needs to. Game 2, you just can't go down 2-0 like they did. Went out like a sack of nuts. And he had a bad game.
And
that just cannot happen.
And it was a 97-87 game. That's just not even how basketball's being played right now.
No.
How do you get drawn into a tractor pull like that when you're an elite scorer, you're coupled with Booker, and neither team defends particularly well?
I did 2 things. I read an article and I was listening to the guy who wrote the article talk about it, and it's basically a really detailed. I'll send it to you. It was a detailed thing about Kevin Durant's career and the offenses that he has been on, right? So, in OKC, first of all, it's always been heavy isolated. So, in OKC, it was a heavy isolation ball, right? Yeah. Russ takes a turn. KD takes a turn, all right? And that was somewhat successful, but they had a ton of pieces that would come in and generate and help. But still, ultimately, they failed because it was too heavy in isolation. All right. Just Black said, y'all starting early. Yeah, we had to start early today, man. I got to catch Joel Embiid, the MVP, on the court. So heavy isolation. Then he goes, from OKC or whatever it was, 8-9 years to Golden State. He fits in the system. He does. But he had 2 or 3 blow-ups that this guy explained with Coach Kerr saying, hey, man, I need to do me. I need more isolations. I don't want to run around 2 to 3 streets. That's Steph and Clay. He didn't want to fit in. He wasn't comfortable doing it.
Right.
And that's very misleading when people say, "Oh, he came in and he fit like a glove." No, he didn't want to play that way.
Right. But what he gave them was what made that group so good was that they could do the movement stuff. But then when things got stale, they still had this guy that could just do the one-on-one thing.
For whatever you want to say, 6 to 7 times a game.
Yeah.
But that's not going to work 25 to 30 times a game.
No, 100%.
You're not going to win that. And in Brooklyn, it was a shit show,
if you go back to Jordan, if you go back to Kobe and Shaq, the triangle offense is not the be-all and end-all of basketball.
Right.
But what that did for those teams, what Phil Jackson was always smart enough to know, was that you gave a fluid structure that engaged all 5 players on the court that was your basis, because you always know that your elite guys can go one-on-one, ISO, get a post-up, do what they want to do when you need to. But rather than just having the game turn into 50 possessions of ISO Shaq, ISO Kobe, or ISO Michael, ISO Scotty, you had this basic structure that kept the other players engaged.
Exactly.
And when you needed to go and just ISO, it was still there. That would always be there with great players. But the great thing was he got them into buy-in enough to just keep everybody engaged and keep some little bit of movement going, so the game's not total isolation.
Yeah. And Black says again, I think KD is realizing exactly what you guys are saying. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean,
could have saved him a lot of time and a lot of bad career decisions. Put me on staff, KD. You got the lifetime deal with Nike. Throw me a few shekels.
Exactly, man. Once again, you guys are on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports music and mayhem. That was a little NBA talk. We're going to get right back to it with Anthony Davis and the Lakers series. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Seafood Q. All right, this has been trending. People have been talking about it. The food is like phenomenal, with the F, like Future say. Okay, and they're out again on Friday. Okay, you know how we do, black folks. We take over other people's holidays, and we're celebrating Cinco de Seafood. That's what we're doing here with Seafood Q. Okay, and you want to get there early because, like I said, it's 3 p.m. until sold out. She's gonna sell out. All right, yeah, you can see a couple pictures. I hope I got the quality good on there. But if it's not, that's my fault, not hers. The food is so crazy good.
Where's this location?
So it's going to be.
Friday night?
I have the address on that 5900 Park Hamilton Boulevard in Orlando.
Do you know what? You know what that is, though? Is that
I've been there. I passed by one time. That's on the other side of town from where I live. But I'm still going to make that drive. And it's not only seafood. If you're not into seafood, she has wings. You know, all of that stuff, man. So so definitely check her out. She has what you're looking for, and it's awesome. All right. She is even further instructions. Okay. She's going to be parked in the complex by the front office. Okay, it's a food truck.
Oh, it's like an apartment
complex. It's a food truck, so she's able to go to parks or complexes or wherever she needs to go, where she's going to get the most traction at, and she's going to have my traction for sure. All right, so that's this Friday, Seafood Q. All right, so let's talk about some. I wanted to talk about this too, just to break up the sports. We're going to get back to sports. But did you hear about Jamie Foxx, man?
I've heard about it. It's been like strangely cryptic, but if he's still in the hospital, which is my understanding, this is a tragedy.
Yeah.
I've maintained for a couple years that there's no more talented an entertainer on the planet than Jamie Foxx. The complete diversity that he can offer, you know, legitimate singing, legitimate comedy, legitimate dramatic acting, phenomenal, like, whatever, podcast, show, like, storyteller. This is, like, literally one of the most talented entertainers to ever walk the earth.
Seriously.
And for him, I think he's in his 50s. He's not terribly old.
Mm-hmm.
To be in this situation.
Now, there is an update now.
It's sad.
It is. But there is an update. So he's been in about roughly 3 weeks or so, okay? And he actually broke his silence today, all right?
He spoke?
Yeah, he spoke.
Oh.
He says, I appreciate all the love, feeling blessed, okay? And he put that out on his Instagram page. I'm sure, he probably had somebody to do it for him. But, he says he's feeling blessed. So it looks like he may make it through. And, we all hoping he makes it through. And, of course, his family yesterday sent out a message to everybody saying, pray for Jamie. He's still in here, blah, blah, blah. So, for sure.
I'm not a religious person. We know that well. But I'm going to tell you, him saying blessed is – I don't take that as a positive, and not on religious grounds.
Mm.
That's not specific.
Feeling blessed.
That's vague. Like that's like, and you're asking for prayers. That means he's probably really not doing well, and is basically just trying to acknowledge something. I mean, I didn't take that as good news at all. Mm. I'm concerned. That's actually more concerning. When you said he said something, I thought it might be
like a video, audio, or something.
Something a little bit better than blessed.
Yeah,
blessed. Hey, it's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm starting to feel better and hope to see some of y'all soon. Like something, right? That's awful.
Now I have my top 5 work from Jamie Foxx. I was going to list that out. A lot of times I do top 5s on this show. I'm gonna get to that. But randomly, I was watching Steve Harvey on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and he was talking about a moment. And I'm going to just really quick here because you talked about his age here. Jamie Foxx is 55 years old.
Right.
All right. And You got Steve. I was curious, and Steve Harvey is 66. Okay, so Steve Harvey was
The double Satan.
he was talking about how he broke into the industry or what have you, and it's stand up. So and a lot of those guys, they started out stand up. Same thing with Jamie Foxx and Cedric the Entertainer. So Steve is telling a story about how he was trying to break in the industry. He's really poor, and he spent his last $30 to go up to I'm pretty sure it was New York to this show. He got a call, and so he made it to the show. And spent his last dollar to get there. And when he gets into the room, here is young Jamie Foxx and the Cedric Entertainer. First time he's meeting these people in his entire life. And they're going on this show. It was it's just hit me. When they can boo people off and stuff like that.
Like the Gong Show or like the Apollo thing?
Apollo, right? So they're going up there, and Steve went last, but he said Jamie Foxx went first. And when Jamie Foxx went up to do his comedy routine at that time, and Jamie's got to be really young. He's like I just said, 11 years younger than Steve. So if you can imagine how young Jamie is at this time, he goes up on the stage and they're booing him, really booing him, his comedy routine, about to kick him off, and then he goes to singing. And when he goes to singing, he gets the entire crowd. Now everybody's clapping. He said he's never seen anything like that in his entire life. And I'm talking about because the Apollo crowd is really aggressive, right? Yeah. So from them to go to completely booing to them completely standing up and cheering and clapping is crazy. That goes to your to your talent. But that's the thing,
like Sid, like who else could do that other than him?
Exactly.
And I'm sure when he's saying it's as good as any singer. Like
right.
it's crazy. I mean,
exactly.
One of my, I guess you got your top 5. I just wanted to interject and say, like, I love. There's a segment.
Go ahead.
There's a segment I've seen him do a couple times where he impersonates like back to back like Prince, Luther Vandross, and like sings stuff in there, and it's just crazy.
Yeah,
and it sounds like so much like them.
Yeah,
and it's insane.
And that's an underrated thing because impersonations is its own thing. It's like a form of entertainment. It's not really comedy. It's not really singing. It's not but it's its own like thing, and he's like one of the best at that as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then when he seductively sings the Brady Bunch song, my God, I mean, that's insane.
It's insane, man.
Oh,
so I'm gonna run down my top 5 work from Jamie Foxx. All right, I'm gonna give as an honorable mention. I'm going to give
taking a little license here.
Yeah. I'm going to give Any Given Sunday an honorable mention. Not only because this is a sports, related show, but Any Given Sunday was a good movie, and it was funny. It was interesting, and it was based loosely off of a true story there. So I want to give Any Given Sunday an honorable mention there. All right, but it had no chance to break my top 5 here. All right, number 5. Top 5 work from Jamie Foxx is The Jamie Foxx Show, okay? That was sort of a lot of people's introduction to Jamie, and it was in an era of all of these dope, sitcom shows, especially the UPN era was a lot of black shows. You got Martin, and you have Fresh Prince, and you have, all of those. I can keep on and on and on. And although you may not rank the Jamie Foxx Show above those or what have you, we still watch, and it was still in the same neighborhood as those, and he was hilarious, and that show did really well and was on for a number of years. Okay, the Jamie Foxx Show coming in at number 5. All right, coming in at number 4 is actually a movie. All right, it's called Collateral. I'm not sure if
Tom
you've ever
Cruise.
seen it. Yeah.
Low key, love that movie.
Yes, low key, love that movie.
Yeah,
I wrote that down. Low key, love that movie.
I mean, Jamie was like a cab driver,
a taxi
basically.
Cab driver. Yep.
And Tom Cruise was playing like a villain, which was kind of not his normal bag. That was great. And who was the female?
It was a female, right? That they were trying to.
You don't know the
I don't know her name. I don't know her name. But yes, he was.
I may have jerked off to her.
He was basically held as a hostage, and he was he received some nominations, Oscars for a support actor for that role. Of course, Tom was the lead role.
And that experience generated some good Jamie Foxx Tom Cruise stories.
Yeah,
because Tom Cruise is love him or hate him, he's a unique character.
Yeah,
and so Jamie always had like material of the time that they worked together that was just like. Only Tom Cruise.
For sure. Coming in number 3 is another movie. I really wanted to go higher with this movie. Django. I'm trying to be objective here. Django is my favorite Jamie Foxx work of all
Really?
time. But if I have to be objective, he was technically a supporting actor. And when people think about that movie, they think about Leonardo DiCaprio, DiCaprio first before they think Jamie. All right. So just being objective. But of course, he was acting as a free slave, and all of the movie, the Oscar nominations that they received for that movie was awesome. All right. So it has to be on the list.
I got to share a quick story on Django. So
Go.
I saw Django on Christmas Day.
Oh, wow.
And I was horribly sick. And I don't remember the movie super well, but there was a point in time that it felt like the movie was ending. And then there was about another 45 minutes. And I'm talking like fever, ready to vomit in the theater watching this. And I was like overjoyed when I thought the movie was ending.
Yeah.
And then that extra 45 minutes made me dig to a very dark place I don't know I've ever been before. And we capped that off by having Christmas dinner at Denny's.
Oh, man. It make you sicker.
And that's why I've never seen Django again. And I've not forgotten that day.
I love Django, man. Number 2, I'm cheating a little bit here because I want to pick 2.
What's new?
Actually comes, I know, right? Actually comes from his singing career. All right. So we got Slow Jams. All right, for the people, she say she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a little Anita, and we can. I don't want to.
You're getting there, but I didn't think you were gonna stop.
I don't want y'all to be throwing your panties up on the screen and trying to get me music contracts. But that's I got Slow Jams there, and of course, Blame It on the Alcohol. All right. Blame It on the Alcohol is technically his biggest song, his biggest record. It stayed at number 1 on the billboards for like 20 or 30 weeks or something crazy. But Slow Jams is my favorite Jamie Foxx song, and it made it number 1 on the billboard as well.
I'm glad you mentioned panties, because there was one of his musical comedy things. He's at a piano, he's performing in an auditorium, and he's kind of hits a few little sexy things, and he looks up at the top at this girl, and he goes, "Panties wet, aren't they?" That was just like, classic. It was beautiful.
That's classic,
beautiful,
man. And coming in at number 1 is Ray, of course, man.
I'm glad you said Ray.
Yeah, Ray. He's playing Ray Charles there. He won an Oscar for it. He was the lead role. All right, and he won for best actor. And I mean, he just from the mannerisms to he just killed and nailed everything apart about that movie, man. It was crazy good.
Yeah, no, it was. I wasn't even necessarily a super Ray Charles fan, and I didn't see it in the theater, but I eventually saw it, and I was like, that was really incredible.
So I don't know about that, Coach. Coach Rudy says the lady was Jada Pinkett.
Oh.
I don't know if that was Jada.
I take back jerking off then. Can I run that one back?
We'll look that up. And Black, you said post apply on your community board. I don't know if I know how to do that, but if I find it, I will. I'll do that. Let me see if no, I can't post it here, can I? And yes, so that is my top 5 for the top Jamie Foxx. And for that seafood flyer, like Black is asking for, I'll post it. Yes, on the YouTube channel. You just have to go to the YouTube channel and you'll see it on there. But again, to cover the 5, number 5 is Jamie Foxx Show. Number 4 is the movie Collateral. Number 3 is Django. 2 is the song Slow Jams and Blame It on the Alcohol. And number 1 is Ray. All right, man. Well, yeah, we pulling for you, Jamie, and we love your talent.
Man, I hope there's more things to add to this top 5.
Oh, for sure. All right, here. Can't forget about our very first sponsor, overkink.com. Hope you're staying kinky. Use promo code BubbaPink, and you receive a discount on all, and I do mean all, of your bedroom needs.
Hell yeah.
A couple of quick hitters here, and then we're going to head off. All right. I'm just going to click them, and we'll see where it takes us. AD, Anthony Davis, man. He's been playing crazy, been playing out of his mind. We don't know if he can keep it up health-wise. But
another one of these just tough ones for me. It's like I've always been an AD basher, and he's playing so good right now. I can't say a bad word about him.
he seems to have an advantage. We knew he had one last series, but this series I didn't think it would be that big of a mismatch as it played out to be. But when he's playing like this, that's the issue. When he's playing, period, number one, and when he's playing like this, number two.
This is
a tough guard.
This is what every AD supporter always saw of him, like that he's capable of this that we're watching right now. And because of injury, because of weirdness, like we haven't seen this very much. And so it's kind of like, is he actually that guy or not? But again, he's at what he is now, he's an extremely long, rangy, athletic guy who has a great knack for defending and rebounding. He's not an enjoyable scorer to watch, but he has enough in his bag to score well. And I think when he's engaged on both ends, you're just getting a guy full of confidence and full of talent, and that's tough to deal with. Yeah, I mean, like again, it wouldn't necessarily be that much of a mismatch, but like Kevin Looney's very good at what he does, but he's like a two-trick pony. That's it. I mean, AD at health, at ability is on a completely different level. So I'm not necessarily surprised by that. And Looney, he's long and he's persistent on the glass. He doesn't have anything that's going to bother AD to me. Now, if he gets into a situation with, maybe Jokic brings some different dynamic. Maybe if they get to the finals and play an Embiid, maybe that's something those type of guys can make him more uncomfortable or get him out of his comfort zone, which he's clearly in right now. But the only thing that's going to stop him in this series is injury. He's
a really good matchup for Jokic. Jokic doesn't stand a chance against this version of AD. The Warriors are in a unique situation. First of all, I love Kerr, man. Even though they lost that game, Kerr is just he makes adjustment. He's an adjustment monster. I love it when you can visibly see the adjustments that he makes. Especially the one where they had to put Curry on the ball. But anyway, my point to that is I wonder what adjustment they're going to make to this, because they're in a unique situation to where I want to see Draymond more on AD, but then you have absolutely nowhere to put Looney. But Looney is your best rebounder in the entire team. You can't take him out because AD and LeBron are rebounding like crazy. So this is I wouldn't want to be in this coaching seat here.
No, I was worried about this matchup. I didn't like this matchup for Golden State for the reasons that you said. Green is at his best as like a versatile Swiss Army knife defensively and a verbal coordinator on the fly. But in this series, he has to be more of an individual defender because of their personnel. He's got to guard LeBron. He's got to guard AD. And he doesn't get to do as much off the ball coordinating and wreaking of havoc that you do. Plus, combine that with the fact that the Lakers tend to play at a slower tempo. So Green does a lot of great stuff in transition defense. It's almost, in this series, you're not necessarily going to have as many opportunities to be in open floor situations than you did against a team like the Kings or probably a team like the Grizzlies had they been better. So this is really a tough matchup for Golden State. And if AD and LeBron string together 4 or 5 really strong games, it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be tough.
Styles make fights, as we hear all the time. But that's what adjustments are made for, and that they're at the top of the food chain. So we'll see what this series brings out. But yeah, shout out to AD. We definitely wanted to bring him up. We couldn't just leave him out of today's show after the type of performance he has had last game and over the last couple series.
Oh wait, time out.
Oh, go ahead.
There was one caption. It said it was literally like L.A. browbeats Golden State.
Browbeats Golden State.
I love that though. I mean, that was great.
Now, another thing that hit social media hard yesterday and today is the Grizzlies coming out with they won't be re-signing Brooks. And for some people that don't know, this is extremely early for teams to be. If you just noticed, even teams that are out of the playoffs, you haven't even heard who they're going to be re-signing or not. Like, and they've been out. They haven't played basketball in almost a month, right? Like, you just don't hear this news this early.
Well, I mean, the reality is the free agent market, the draft, the trade market, there's so many variables. I mean, if you're an intelligent team, like, you've got to go into this whole sequence with like literally multiple plans because so many different things can happen. And again, it is seldom good business to be definitive on a player because you don't know how things are going to fill out. You could absolutely quietly want to move on from Dylan Brooks and kind of try a bunch of stuff. But if nothing works, like, you might have to typically welcome that guy back to the fold and be happy to move forward, mend fences. But this is a savage move.
It's
this
strong,
is
man.
At your exit meeting, on a young player,
Yeah.
like, who's been a part of your core, to just say, we're not bringing you back under any circumstances.
Under any circumstance.
They just torpedoed.
If you say I'll play for you on a minimal contract, no.
Yeah.
Under any circumstance.
And I mean, they're not just. I mean, they're literally torpedoing his value.
Yeah.
Because literally after that, he's not going to get anything other than like a 1-year deal or minimum level
Nothing
stuff.
Nothing of value.
But here's part B that I like. This is what should happen when you're a dick. Like, this is absolutely what should happen. Yeah. And most of the times, people, they finesse around this and they played mental gymnastics. This guy was a dick, a fake tough guy, and he got exposed. And that's what this was. He's always been on the edge. And it was funny because somebody recounted. I mean, he was the guy that freaking threw Peyton on the ground last year and injured him. He had a couple of other incidents of like injuring guys, hitting guys in the balls. It's just like, dude, we don't need you in the game of basketball. Right. Basketball is bigger than you, better than you. And if all you've got is this like faux tough guy gamesmanship, get out of here. Yeah. And I'm glad the Grizzlies are doing this. And I hope the teams, across the board, like, kind of don't have a market for this.
He's a unique type of player because he needs to be on a contending or a good team to really show his value, for his value to shine through. Like, he can't go to a young, like a Magic, Houston Rockets. Like, those teams can't utilize him. It makes no sense. Well, because you don't want him. He's not the leadership type of guy.
Well, like, what? Okay, and I don't like him, and I don't believe in him, and I think more specifically how this whole Lakers thing went from I poke bears to I'm not talking to the press. Like, that is a weakness of character. Yeah. That is a fatal flaw. That's who you are. That's who you'll always be. And for me, like, that specific sequence, get rid of him. Yeah. And I completely endorse the Grizzlies. In another universe, like, sometimes younger, mentally weaker teams, they might actually benefit from a guy that kind of is like the agitator type guy. Nah. I don't know. They might.
He needs a culture to save him. Like, he needs a Boston Celtics. He needs I guess we're looking at it from different eyeglasses. You're looking at it as a team could use him. What team can use him? But I'm kind of looking at it because like you said, his value has torpedoed. How can he bounce back? Because he can't. He'll go to a bad team and get lost because the team's going to be shitty. They're going to lose.
See, that's the thing. I don't think he fits a good team because I think good teams now know what this guy is. Yeah. He's all bark, no bite, and when we're in these playoff series, we need dudes to play. Yeah. And I think any good team he's not attracted to anymore. I think his pathway to rehabilitation, first humble yourself and get some mental toughness. Like, real substantive mental toughness, not quotes and stupid dances coming into the arena, but toughness. Hit shots under duress, work your ass off, defend, stop hitting people in the freaking balls, and be a man. Now, if he wants to do that, to me, if you kind of improve your persona, you go to a younger team, you bring that fiery defense, that little verbal chip on your shoulder, and substantiate that with some good defense and some shot making, I think you can kind of rehab yourself a little bit. There's always the risk of getting lost on a bad team, but the Magic might not be a bad team anymore. They might be moving up. And again, let's just play this out. Dylan Brooks does the work on himself, signs to the Magic, becomes like a bench energy defensive guy, and the Magic, kind of get in the mix, and maybe they're a 7 seed next year. And Brooks is one of these guys that's kind of part of that. If that happened, he's kind of rehabbed himself about as much as you could.
As much as you could.
I
don't buy it. But
I don't either. I want him out of the league. I want him in Taiwan with Dwight Howard.
I'm not. But I'm not completely mad at it.
Yeah.
I
want him getting teabagged in Bangkok from a ladyboy.
Shout out to our guest.
Shout out to our guest.
Yeah, the black guy we had here that was talking about this stuff.
Yeah, that's my coworker, Greg Jackson.
Shout out to Greg, man.
It almost made it sound like he got teabagged.
No. I wouldn't do that to you, Greg.
Oh, good.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Don't do it to me
either. Lastly, before we get out of here, I just thought this was, I don't want to say funny, but interesting to say the least. So, it's a 78-year-old woman. She has already robbed 2 banks in her past, like years ago.
In her back in her prime.
She was recently arrested again for a 3rd heist in Missouri, I think near Kansas City. Shout out to Mahomes and his brother situation. We'll get to that another time. But this 78-year-old woman, she handed a note. She did the note thing.
Yeah.
And basically she was like robbing but apologizing at the same time. Like, I'm sorry I have to do this. Like, I'm sorry. But hand over this $900,000. In the note. And then she slid the second note. Hurry the fuck up.
I don't have long to live. If I'm going to make it out of the bank and spend any of this.
And then she made it out of the fucking bank. Who is securing this bank? I don't know. But she made it out of the bank, miles down the road. Police got her. She was heavily drunk and intoxicated, they said.
Was she heavily drunk during the heist?
Yeah. They got it, yeah, because they
I
pulled
thought she
her
might have
over.
went for a couple celebratory pops after the heist.
That's a good question. That is. I'm thinking. I'm automatically assuming she at least rushed out of there and tried to make her getaway.
But okay, if you're an employee of the bank, maybe they just have like that general rule: if somebody asks, just give it to them. Got the cash.
Yeah, because I worked.
Because I'm like, why would you?
Yeah.
Like, why would you feel like this lady could do any harm to you? You could probably just kick her in the forehead.
And if that's the thing, why have security there?
Exactly.
What can they do if they can't stop an 80-year-old woman from robbing a place off of a note? What are they going to do if 20 armed men come in like in the movies and
right, exactly.
If they can't do nothing with an 80-year-old woman, they're just stealing money themselves. They're robbing.
They're just calling it a salary.
They're just calling it a salary. Man.
That's true. If you can't stop her, what good are you?
What good are you? What if something real goes down here?
Did she have a weapon or
any article I read didn't show any weapon, just the notes.
It's that easy, man. Wow.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I need a security guard. We had Jenkins on here one time.
Yeah.
We need somebody to explain that to us because I don't understand, man.
That is. The only thing I could think of is you just
I'm in the wrong profession.
If confronted with any sort of attempted robbery, you just provide the funds and we will rely on the cameras and whatever else to detain that person at a safer time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, super crazy. Super crazy.
Hurry the fuck up.
Oh man.
And then the funny thing is did she write that note in the moment, or did she leave the house with that one ready to drop his number 2? And what other notes did she have?
What other notes?
For possible scenarios? I'm fucking serious. What else was there?
More 20s. I don't want. I can't do anything with all these $100 bills.
That's great.
Oh man. All right, before we get off here, Celtics are up 3. Embiid off to a slow start, as I imagine. He has two points, but from the free throw line, he's 0 for 2.
Okay.
With I thought I saw 2 fouls. It went down to 1 magically.
Right.
So maybe they took one back.
Made a challenge.
Tobias Harris is already 1 for 5. He's out to a blazing start.
Came out firing. with a blindfold on.
Read the room. Jeez Louise, man. The MVP is back.
We gotta get Tobias started. I always like Juan's big on that. Yeah, man, we gotta get somebody going. Like, you know, like he'll name some.
You gotta get him going.
No, we just need to play basketball. If you can't get going in the flow, you probably need to be on the bench here,
right,
out of harm's way.
Out of harm's way.
Yeah, for real, man. I mean, the only way you say that is if you have like a guy who the ball is just stopping with and it's not moving at all.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, we got to move the ball so that other people can be involved. But the notion of like everything else is operating okay, the ball's moving, but we got to take special time to make sure you get a couple shots, you're just not that guy. Just go sit down, think about other pursuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any interesting takes on that Miami Knicks series? Have you been watching at all?
I watched part of the first game. I was actually playing soccer when the second game. I mean, I trust in Jimmy. If Jimmy's able to play,
If he's able to play,
I think the Heat win probably maybe around 6 games. If Jimmy's compromised and just can't be a shadow of himself, then the door's open, and I'd probably say the Knicks would win because combination of Jimmy and Hero being out is probably too much to overcome over a stretch of games.
Yeah.
But I think Jimmy will come back, and I think that they'll probably win the series. Do you want to comment on taking your first coaching loss?
I faced off against Pink in a rec league game, and I was a coach. He was a coach. I thought I coached well. We lost by first of all, we only lost by 17, I think, something like that.
It was uglier early, but you closed the gap to 17.
I closed the gap. Granted, you did have one of your best players leave
mysteriously
second quarter
at
or so, halftime.
There's so many great moments of men's league basketball, and that was one of them. So we get off to a great start. This particular player, Tommy's having a great game, and we're in maybe a little past the middle of the first half, and he goes, Pink, what time is it? I look at my phone. I'm like, it's 7:20. So, okay, I got to go. And, he plays another, 2 or 3 possessions, checks himself out, changes his shoes, and he's gone. No other explanation. I got to play in another game that tips off at 8. Whatever. My weed man is only available for the next 30 minutes. What? Nothing.
What is it?
Didn't give us anything. Just left. That's only topped by one time I was in the JCC playoffs. We were in the final. We get to halftime. Actual police, enter the gym and take our best player out of the gym. And
Nice.
He was out of the gym for the entire third quarter. But then he returned, checked in and played the fourth, and we won. So, to actually have your best player questioned by police in the middle of a rec league final. I mean, that's
crazy.
That's pretty special.
Hey, yo, man, you can't wait till after the game. This is a championship game.
This is great. Oh, we were in a Pro-Am final, and a player at halftime found out that he was going to be a dad.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Did he stay or did he go to the hospital?
No, he finished the game. Actually made it to the after party. No, he didn't. It wasn't. We're not at the hospital yet. This was hey, we need to talk.
Oh, like I'm pregnant. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Because I always wondered if I'm really doing something important and I have a girl that's about to have a baby at the hospital. I always wonder, am I
probably got to go unless you're functioning at a professional level.
Okay.
I think you got to go.
You got to go
the hospital. Yeah. Another guy. So, dude, we were playing a Pro-Am game at the downtown rec, and a guy had his car stolen during the game. So came out post game and no car, and better yet, it was his girlfriend's car.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Good times, man.
It is.
Good times.
It is.
So.
Well, all right. Well, you guys have been on the bench podcast of Bubba and Pink. We'll be back next week with Abson actually, and like Black commented, I'm going to put that the flyer of the seafood queue up on our page. You'll be able to go find it. All right. Thank you.